All right, for this video, we are going to make the pen clip. And you're going to start with your finished carabiner top. You know, if you haven't yet changed the appearance of this to match your pen barrel, you can go ahead and do that by pressing AA and then picking whichever color you want. I'm going to drag this over, and that'll be what I use. All right, now into making the pen clip. What we want to do is make sure this top level is active that you see up here at the top. Make sure that radio button is turned on. And I'm going to come over to Assemble, New Component, and we are going to name that new component Pen, and click OK. Now it'll gray out the carabiner, and it will be active now over here on the left in the browser. I'm going to create a new sketch in the YZ plane. Zoom in. And what I'm going to do is I am going to create a projection or hit P on the keyboard. And I'm going to project a number of things here. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to select this tiny segment right here, the longer segment here, this curve, the inside curve here, this piece over here on the left, and then the circle. I'm then going to scroll up to the top, zoom in. I'm going to select both of these slanted lines, as well as this real tiny segment here, this curve, and then this horizontal line, and then click OK. All right. I'm going to create a couple 3-point arcs connecting some of these projected parts. So I'm going to create arc 3-point. The first thing I'm going to grab are over here on the left, up here, down here to the outside. The radius there we will dimension in a second. And then I'm going to grab this piece here to that piece there. And again, we'll worry about the radius here in a second. All right, now I'm actually, as I come over here, I'm going to erase something. I'm going to erase this arc real quick. I chose the wrong point down here. So let's redo that. Create arc 3-point. The top point right here is correct, but we want to go down to this point out here. And then we will dimension that right now, actually. Okay, so just double check, make sure you've got all the points correct. And then what we're going to do is go to our dimensioning tool. Both arcs are going to have a dimension of 0.85. 0.85 for each. All right, so double check, make sure your arcs are 0.85 there. I am going to then zoom in here below that circle. We're going to draw a line, straight horizontal line, that intersects the body or the carabiner somewhere along those lines there. Okay. Now I'm going to dimension this. I'm going to dimension it from this point here up to the line. That should be 0.07 inches. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to drag these handles over a little bit so that they intersect with these curves I've projected. And when you do that, you should see a little X. There. Over here and do the same thing. Just click and drag over. There we go. I'm able to grab it, drag it over. All right, so then that line intersects our carabiner like you, or I should say the endpoints intersect the carabiner like you see there. We're going to go ahead and finish the sketch. Now, so I can better see a couple different profiles here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the carabiner top. I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to pick two profiles, this and that. Over here in our extrude menu, we're going to change a couple things. We're going to change one side to symmetric. We're going to change half length to whole length. And then the distance is going to be 0.115. Click OK. Go ahead and turn the carabiner top back on. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to build out this top portion here. And what we're going to start is we're going to start a new sketch. So create sketch on this side here. I'm going to project a few things. So either press P on your keyboard or go to create, project. And I'm going to pick three different little segments. This small segment right here, the longer one next to it, and this curve. Those are the only three we're going to pick. We're going to click OK. I'm going to finish the sketch. And now I'm going to rotate it a little bit so I can better show you what we're going to select here in a minute or in a second. So I'm going to go to extrude. I want to extrude this part right here. Should be the really one of the only things you can pick, but this top part here. Now, as far as what we want to extrude to, we want to highlight this little triangle right here. It should take us, as you see here in this box, to 0.008. And click OK. And the operation also should say join, but I'm going to click OK. Now you can see I'm starting to kind of build that out. I'm going to rotate to the other side, and I'm going to repeat all those same things. I'm going to create a sketch on the face. I'm going to project that segment, and that segment. Click OK. Finish the sketch. I'm going to extrude this portion here. Click that little triangle there. It should come out to a 0.008 distance, and make sure join is selected. Click OK. All right, so now we're going to continue to build out this carabiner, the clip here, but I'm only going to build out this portion on both sides right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new sketch on the side. I am going to hit P to project. And this time I'm not going to pick a segment. I'm going to pick this whole region and then click OK. I'm going to zoom in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace over this triangular region. And when I did this the first time, I ran into a couple issues. So I'm going to try and, or I am going to show you how to work around those. But the horizontal line is fine. I'm going to click that point there, and I'm going to come past the end. Oh, sorry about that. And then I'm going to create another line, and I'm going to start it here. Now, I'm trying to snap it to this intersection here, but it's not snapping for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get out of the line command. I'm going to hit P to project, and I'm just going to project this line. Click OK. Then I'm going to take my line tool. Now it should snap right to that spot. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to extend out, but I'm not going to go directly over that line. Click OK. I'm going to come up here to the constraints and pick the collinear constraint right here. And I'm going to pick this purple projected line first, and then the line I drew. And things should now be lined up. Now we are going to trim this. So I'm going to come up to trim, and I'm going to select the two parts that we want trimmed away. Go ahead and finish the sketch. I am going to extrude. There's going to be two regions I select. One of them is going to be the triangular region here. And you got to be careful because there are some other things in the way. So we're going to grab that triangular region. We're going to grab this larger region. We're going to make sure join is selected, and the distance is going to be 0.085. Okay. I'm then going to rotate over to the other side and repeat all of those same things. So I'm going to create a sketch on the side. I'm going to project that region there. Click OK. I'm going to zoom in at the top, draw a couple lines. First one's going to be the horizontal line starting there. I'm going to come out past where I would like to go. And then I'm going to draw another line. Let's see if I can snap there this time. I cannot. So again, I'm going to hit P on the to project. I'm going to pick this line there. Click OK. I'm going to draw another line from that intersection. Again, I'm not going to go directly over. I'm going to come up here, pick the collinear constraint, pick the projected line, the line I drew, and then I'm going to trim. Finish the sketch. Extrude. Again, be careful selecting that triangular portion, this larger portion. Make sure it's join, 0.085. Okay. All right, next we are going to cut out a little slot on the back side of this. And so I want to turn off my carabiner pen with a carabiner top so that I can just see this right now. I'm going to fillet this back edge first. Pick fillet, pick this back edge to 0.05. I'm going to round that off. Then I'm going to create a new sketch. And I want to make sure I select the YZ plane. I'm going to project. I'm going to project the following curves, kind of all the way around the outside here. And click OK. I'm now going to come up here to offset. The offset menu is going to pop up. You're going to make sure chain selection is not selected. And we're going to pick these two curves here on the left. I'm going to drag this into the inside, and I want that to offset by -0.02. Click OK. I'm going to draw a line, horizontal line, up here at the top, cutting through. And then I'm going to dimension that from the bottom to that line is 0.45. As I zoom in here at the bottom, what I can see is that this arc doesn't quite get to the bottom, so I'm going to extend that by going up to Modify, Extend, and I'm going to click on that right there. When I do that, the dimensions of the offset disappear. So I'm going to redimension that from, and I have to choose this top portion to the edge, 0.02. You won't be able to grab this bottom portion, but that's okay. I'm going to finish the sketch. Now, the section I want to grab to extrude, I can't grab, so I'm going to perform a section analysis. So I'm going to go to Inspect, Section Analysis. I want to pick the XZ plane. Click OK. Now, I'm going to extrude. And what I want to extrude is not this sliver, but this portion right here. Over here in the Extrude menu, I am going to click Symmetric. Change one side to Symmetric. Change half length to whole length. And then the distance should be 0.055. Now, if you have more than one body down here, you want to make sure that you uncheck axle pin, but we haven't yet drawn our axle pin, so you should just have one body here to cut, and click OK. Now I'm going to turn off the section analysis so we can see our carabiner or our pen clip here. You'll notice now we've cut out the slot there in the back. All right, now I'm going to do some fillets here. These bottom two, I'm going to select as 0.128. Oops, let me rotate this around. Cancel, try it again, fillet, here, here, 0.128. Well, let's try a little smaller. 2. You might have to jump around and try some different things here. So let's try this again. Fillet here. How about 0.035? Should do the trick. Good. Now we're going to select this other side as well. Okay, you could select them both at the same time. Here, 0.035. All right, now the distance I was giving you earlier is for these top edges here. So I'm going to fill it up here as well, this edge and this edge, and that's going to be 0.128. All right, so now you can see we've kind of rounded things off here to give it kind of that circular appearance. I'm going to create a sketch on the top. I'm going to rotate this around so it sits like this. I'm going to create a rectangle, and I am going to start it in this corner here, matched up with this side, and then I'm going to bring it out beyond. Okay. I'm going to dimension the height. So from the top to here, that height is 0.185. If you notice, we can take this edge and we can move it. So I'm going to use the collinear constraint, and let me unselect that real quick. Use the collinear constraint, select this edge, and then the edge of the rectangle I drew, and you're set. We're going to finish the sketch, and then I'm going to extrude that rectangle I drew down into the part, -0.1. I'm going to make sure it's a cut, and click OK. One thing we haven't yet done is change the appearance of this, but first let me turn on the carabiner top, and let's make actually our whole thing active here so we can see how it kind of all fits together. All right, now change the appearance of this. You can make it whatever color you want. I'm going to bring red over, but let's see, I want to change that more to an orange, so I'm going to duplicate and then edit. And again, you can make this whatever color you want. It doesn't have to be what I'm choosing here. Going to change the name. Orange. Done. Slide that over. Okay. And we're just going to change the appearance. All right. A couple things we want to do here at this point is I want to change the physical material of the carabiner top if I haven't done that yet. So we'll right click, we'll go to physical material and wait for that menu to pop up. We do want it to be plastic. And so I'm just going to bring this ABS plastic over for that. I'm also going to bring the ABS plastic over for the pen clip. Now, if that changes the appearance that you want, you can always go back and just change the appearance. If it doesn't, like mine stayed the same, then we're good. I'm going to go over here to the left and right-click the carabiner top and ground it before we get into creating a couple different things here. I want to make sure the top's active. I want to go New Component. So Assemble New Component. This one we are going to call the axle pin. Okay. We want to create a new sketch on the YZ plane. And I'm going to project this circle. Click OK. Then I'm going to draw a circle, and I want it to be in the center of this circle here, which if you're having trouble doing, click anywhere, bring it out. And we're going to draw that circle to 0.058. Okay. Now, I want to make these concentric. So if I pick this, I want to pick the circle that was already there, not the one I drew, and then click the one I drew, and it'll move it exactly where we need it to go. We're going to go ahead and finish the sketch. Right, and as I zoom in here, we are going to extrude the circle that I drew here. Be careful. I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to be careful in choosing. So extrude. If you've got things in your way, I'm going to go and click cancel. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to turn all of that off. I'm going to turn the pen clip off and the carabiner top off. Now extrude, pick the circle. A couple things over here. We want it to be symmetric. We want to go full length or whole length. The distance is going to be 0.25. And we'll click OK. Now, for physical material here, right click physical material. Metal. And we want to pick steel. Grab it and drag it over, and then close. All right, so now I'm going to turn this whole thing back on. I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to turn the entire drawing on so you can see everything here. Make sure you turn the visibility on of those two. And now you can see our axle pin in there. Now, what this is going to help us do is create this revolute joint so that this can open and close. So to start that, we are going to assemble, and again, make sure your top layer is active here. Assemble an as-built joint. I'm going to click on the axle pin. Zoom in so I can get that. Click on the axle pin. And then I'm going to click on the carabiner top. And I want to make sure it's rigid. And click OK. All right, now those two will stay together. Now, this part, we want that to revolve. So we're going to pick as-built joint again, assemble, as-built joint. Want to make sure we select revolute. I am going to choose the pen clip. And then I'm going to choose the top. All right, what it's going to ask me for next is the snap position. And it's going to be kind of hard to find. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to turn my section analysis back on. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click on the axle pin. All right, click OK. I'm going to go ahead and turn that section off. Now, there's got to be limits to how this can swing around. So I'm going to go to Open Up Joints, go to Revolute 2, right click, and I'm going to Edit Motion Limits. The minimum is going to be -40 degrees. The maximum is going to be 0. And I can preview. And there it is. Click OK. And so now if I grab the pen clip, I can move it within its limits. Let's make sure you save. And we're done with the pen clip and the axle pin.